This is Center Stage, putting your firm in the spotlight by highlighting business owners and other industry experts to help take your firm to the next level. Hey everyone, and welcome to Center Stage. I'm your host, John Hinton, and this week covering something that I don't actually think that we have talked about yet on this show because, everything, at least marketing-wise, that we've talked about has kind of existed in the digital space. But I know that this is something that a lot of you out there do with your firm, and that is print marketing and specifically sending out cards, whether it's for holidays or birthdays or something else. And so I wanted to cover that this week and have somebody on and talk about some effective strategies for it, some mistakes to avoid. And our guest this week, someone who does that on a daily basis, handles all of that for people and more. And that is Rick Elmore from Simply Noted. Rick, thanks for joining us.
It's great to be here. Thanks for having me.
Right on. So before we jump in, tell us a little bit about yourself. How'd you get into the greeting card world?
Yeah, it's great question. So I think my path has been a very unique one. My background's in athletics. I played college and professional football. After I got done playing football, went into the corporate medical sales world for about 6 years and had a lot of success there. I was rookie of the year my first year, and then top 5 sales rep or top 1% sales rep for 5 years straight. But I had a niche I couldn't scratch. I went back and did my MBA. And I was about a year into my program, and I had a marketing professor talk about all the success rates in marketing, and everything was like super low. Like email was low, direct mail, push notifications, text. But he ended the lecture saying, "Hey guys, you know what works better now, if not better than ever, is a good old-fashioned handwritten note. Number one, they're rare. People appreciate them. Mailboxes are empty. They get opened almost nearly 100% of the time." And he just kept talking about it, and I just kept falling in love with this idea of, man, this is a cool idea, but nobody has time to do it. And businesses would love this tool if there was a way to scale and automate it. So that was kind of like the origin story of how Simply Noted became an idea. But the last 5+ years, I mean, there's so much more to tell. We've built the world's best handwriting robot. We use AI, real machine learning with our handwriting technology, where we aren't using fonts. We have 6 pending patents. We build our own pens. We have 400,000 monthly users on our platform, and it's just became this like incredibly cool business over the last 5 years.
Awesome. So I want to ask you about the role that AI plays in it, because I just didn't even think about the fact that AI could play a role in something that's handwritten, but we'll get to that in a second. But just broadly speaking, you kind of touched on it a little bit, but just, where is the value, especially as everything is trending more and more towards digital, what is the value that print mail and a handwritten card still provides?
Well, I think, if you go back to the 90s, right before like the internet boom, and everybody did send handwritten notes. I grew up without a cell phone. I got a cell phone when I was 17. It was just like one of those T9, like the only game on it was Worm or Snake. Remember Snake?
Yeah.
That's the only game. I actually had that game on my calculator too. But you fast forward 25, 30 years, right? We've gone through this, internet revolution, digital revolution. Now we're in this AI robotics revolution, and we've just gotten so far away from that tangible relationship building tactic of, even if it's just meeting face to face. Amazon has literally created a monster. You get stuff delivered in 2 to 4 days or 2 to 4 hours now. I remember when I was like 10 years old, I'd have to go to a catalog and circle what I wanted and call it in and wait weeks for it to be delivered. So we're like in this like very distracted, very digital, very now, I want it now, I need it yesterday type of world. So I think that, what is old is new again. Businesses are looking for more tactical, powerful, impactful ways to stand out, build relationships, because we all know business runs on relationships. It doesn't matter, AI can evolve, robots can take over, but people want to do business with people at the end of the day. They do business with people they do business with people they trust. And a really good way to build a relationship and build trust is, to connect with them personally. And unfortunately, you can't do that at scale. You can sit down and build a relationship face to face with somebody over lunch. But what Simply Noted is trying to do is, get as close as possible to being as personal as possible, but we use robots and AI to
Yeah.
do that in an impactful way by doing automated, scalable, genuine, personalized handwritten notes. We do that through software, so like Zapier, APIs,
Mhm.
webhooks, CRMs, or just do bulk. It's just like mail merge. So if you have a spreadsheet, hi first name, right, you can infinitely customize what you want to say. So yeah, what we're trying to do is take technology and introduce it to an old school way of connecting with your clients.
Yeah, and honestly, especially with our audience, one of the biggest complaints that people have about them is just that they don't stay in touch very often. And this
Exactly.
is another good way of doing that. And even if it's someone who has already gone through the transaction and is considered like a past client or something, like there's still value in keeping in touch with those people on a
Hmm.
regular basis, whether it's through your email marketing or social media, or even sending them something in the mail every now and then. And so that is really important. I do want to ask though,
Hmm.
it's just how specifically are you guys using AI? Like, are you using AI to like come up with scripts, I guess, for your
Yes.
notes, or like, yeah, how does that all work out?
Yeah, so right now that's the only way we use AI is you can prompt like right on our website, internally on our website, you can say, write a thank you note to John for meeting me for lunch and talking about this. And it'll literally write you a perfect, anybody who's
Yeah,
messed with ChatGPT understands like how to do that. So
yeah.
it's just what we're trying to do is remove all the barriers for the reasons to use us, like card designs. We have a really cool AI card design creator. We have an AI for creating your message. We use robots to do it. We use software to automate it. So it's like
Mm,
we're trying to remove every barrier for somebody to send a handwritten note. But like you
yeah.
just said, a part of your brand is staying in touch, staying top of mind. You can do that with email. You can do that with a phone call. You can do that with a handwritten card. We're just trying to now build a really cool platform and a service that basically becomes another tool inside your tool belt. Like this
Mhm.
isn't the only thing you should be doing. You need to do everything, right? As a business owner, you got to attack it from all angles. Right? You got to do social media. You got to build trust. You got to do blogs. You got to, again, do email. You got to do everything, right? You got to
Yeah.
do a full 360 attack, of building your brand.
Yeah, absolutely. And so, you know, obviously, sending out, the big one, that I think a lot of firms do is they'll send a card around the holidays, or, Christmas holidays. Some will even, if they have someone's birth date on file, they'll have a system to send out a birthday card. What kinds of mistakes though do you see a lot of small firms making when it comes to the cards that they're sending out to people?
Um, I the ones who do the best are the ones who just say thank you and focus on relationship. I've been doing this for 5 years. The companies that I've seen just grow organically the most over time and use us the most consistently are doing the thank you for becoming a customer or a birthday or
Mhm.
a holiday card. The no gotcha, hey, by the way, buy from us, right? Upsell. It's the companies who try to sneak in, hey, here's a 10% off your next purchase.
Mhm.
It comes across not as genuine. If you're
Yeah.
trying to say, hey, we appreciate you, hey, by the way, we appreciate you, but please buy something from us, right?
Yeah.
Though I see those campaigns, I'm sure they work because people still do it, but the ones who have grown like a hockey stick over time, who use us the most, are the ones who are literally just focused on relationship. And I have a background in sales and marketing, I guess, but we all know like lifetime value of a client is extremely important. It costs way
Yeah.
more money to bring on a new client. How much money you spend on ads, billboards, whatever it is. Just a simple 5% retention rate. This was an American Express study. You can increase your year over year sales by 25 to 95%, by
Yeah.
just a simple 5%. You know,
Yeah.
imagine that. Like, and you can do that through giving them a better experience, make them feel appreciated, tell them thank you. And then they're going to get more referrals, you're going to get better reviews. Like
Yeah.
that's what we say. Relationship is king. Focus on the relationship. And you have to have a good product and a good service just to even stand a chance to run a business, but focus on relationship and everything else is going to take care of itself over time.
Yeah, absolutely. And even maybe
Mhm.
it's for like for example, I make this joke a lot where it's like a criminal defense lawyer may not necessarily want to have repeat clients, but still for like other law firms, there are other services that you can provide, or maybe those people can become referral sources or whatever the case may be. And so, like I said earlier, like even after someone's already gone through and is a past client, like there's still value in staying in touch with them and just reminding them, hey, hope you're hope you're doing well, whatever the case may be, and all of that.
Hmm.
But you mentioned, you talk about, birthday card, you talk about a thank you card for, signing on, become a client or whatever the case may be. One I wanted to ask you about, because it seems like, around the holiday time of year, people get real weird about how they communicate holidays, right? Do you say Merry Christmas or do you say Happy Holidays, or what
Happy
if,
holidays.
yeah, what if,
You
well,
just
yeah, exactly. It's like, well, what if they celebrate Hanukkah? Like, how do you, so yeah, what do you guys say when it comes to like a good holiday approach to a card?
well, yeah, so it is happy holidays. I've been doing this for 5 years. We even made the mistake like year one sending like a Merry Christmas card out. And I
Oh,
had clients, who didn't celebrate Christmas that were
yeah.
friends, were like, hey, you probably shouldn't do that. And I was like, I did not think of that. Thank you for letting me know. But you definitely should say happy holidays. Um, our Christmas or holiday time, November, December is the busiest time of year for us. But like the really creative companies, we work with like some political action committees and like nonprofits. They think outside the box. Like when everybody else is sending during November, December, like we'll get people doing stuff in the middle of the year. They'll say like
Mhm.
halfway to Christmas, happy Christmas in
Mm,
July or July 4th, right? Because that's again, you're not competing, for space on the mantle. Like you're standing
yeah.
out even more because you're not having 100 Christmas cards. After running a business and my wife's in fundraising, like we get, hundreds, probably 150, 200 Christmas cards every year. And it's literally like our fireplace, like our Christmas tree. It's like all over the place. So really cool ways to use our service is to stick out. When you do send a birthday card, that is really powerful because, I mean, it's kind of rare for people to, not to receive a birthday card in their 30s, 40s, and 50s. You may get them from your family, but from friends, like,
Yeah.
it's powerful, and you're showing them that you're thinking about them, right?
Yeah.
And like that is going to stick inside their brain. So, it's just getting creative. It's when they start, a birthday card, a holiday card, all that stuff works. But how we work with software is like where the magic comes in. So as long as you have a CRM, a payment platform, some type of web form fill, we can automate based off of activities that are happening within the company.
Mm,
Employees, like 1 year anniversaries. I mean, all that stuff. We can go into ADP, payroll systems, all that stuff. We've built a platform to where we can integrate and automate and scale sending handwritten notes on time. That's another thing to do is to do it on time, to say thank
yeah.
you 4 months later.
Yeah.
It's not as powerful as when you send it, and they get it 5 days later or 7 days later. It shows that
Right.
you made the effort to do it immediately. So, yeah, there's a bunch of ways to use it, but we do think relationship is king. Say thank
Yeah.
you, be creative, think outside the box, and it's gonna pay dividends for your career and your company for years to come.
Yeah, no, I like that. That thing, what you said about, the Christmas in July, or like finding some out of the box ways to get out in front of people, so you're not competing as much for the same space that
Hmm.
everybody else is already on, and that's pretty brilliant. What about when it comes to design, or maybe even like length of the message or anything like that, anything else that can help someone's cards stand out a little bit more, so that,
Hmm.
because to me, I don't want to run the risk of having my card come off the same way as like someone else's, some other business's card who might be doing the same thing. So like, and are there any other ways that someone can help their stuff stand out a little bit more and make it feel even more special?
Yeah, well, we have a mid journey like AI
Hmm.
like card creator integration. So I mean, technically, it should spit out a unique design every time. I mean, I would absolutely recommend like you should always put your logo on something because you're layering your branding, right? It doesn't matter if you
Hmm.
put it on a billboard, an email, a card, like you want to layer it so it becomes you're recognizable when people see it. So I do recommend simple, like even if it's just like happy holidays with a logo. Like simple is king. Like it's the same thing with your messaging, short and sweet. People have 7-second attention spans, and it's getting worse. Like with all
Hmm.
the notifications we get now, we're just like you start to ignore and block it out. So we say simple. You don't want to overstimulate them with this crazy design either. Like they may not pay attention to it because it's too much. So
Yeah.
for your messaging, really, I always say it's like 3 or 4 sentences. They can read it in 7 to 10 seconds. It's really easy. Don't use complicated language. Make it enjoyable, an enjoyable experience. They're opening the
Yeah.
envelope, they see it. This is nice and it's easy to read, right? Not something where they're gonna have to squint and like reread like 3 times.
Yeah.
it's,
Exactly.
it's really funny. We'll get people who want to like throw like 6 paragraphs on like a greeting card. I'm just like, do you think
Yeah.
anyone's going to read this? And these are like high paid CMOs of like companies. I'm like, how did you get this job? Like, maybe you know something I don't know. I don't know, but like,
Yeah.
just like too long, didn't read. Have you ever heard of TLDR? Like,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
So,
No, yeah, no, and that's great. And then the one other thing that I want to ask you about, people are very concerned about ROI. They want to know, all
mhm,
right, what kind of return am I going to get on this? And I know, greeting cards, they're not going to generate new leads for you. They could generate referrals, they could generate some repeat business, but and maybe for direct mail campaigns, there's some ways to go about doing that. I know, personal injury criminal defense, especially if you're like hooked up with accident reports or police reports and stuff like that, you have like separate direct mail campaigns. But but in terms of like greeting cards, thank you cards, holiday cards, birthday cards, whatever, what do you
mhm,
say to people about the ROI of that, especially because it's more of a nurturing thing? How do is there a way you can
yeah.
assess the value of that?
Even if
Mhm.
for like ROI, number one, like our service is extremely affordable. It's a buck or two a card, depending on how many like you sign up for. So like one or
Mhm.
$2. But for an ROI, like if I was, a lawyer and I don't know how they get referrals, but I would use this to nurture referrals. If that's with other lawyers or other referral channels, I would use this like, hey, send them out. Thinking of you guys, would love to grab coffee. Reach out to them in a
Mhm.
personal way, right? And do that quarterly or do that monthly or whatever your cadence is that makes the most sense. And what does a case make you? I mean, is it $10,000, 100,000, a million, whatever? But like, also, what is your reputation worth to you? How do you
Mhm.
reach out to somebody? Are you staying top of mind? Are you becoming the person that's the most well known in your industry? And you don't even have to lift a finger. So, here's like a little nugget that I do. I follow like the Business Journal, and I'll reach out to all these CEOs who win the awards every single month. So like I'm reaching out in a genuine way, saying, "Hey, congrats on your award." And like now all these powerful CEOs of business owners in the Valley, like I'll reach out to them, send them an authentic handwritten note with my business card. And you have no idea how many emails I get. And then they're like, "Oh, I had no idea this is what you did." Like, but I'm literally
Mhm.
just saying thank you. And now I'm becoming top of mind to all these powerful business owners. So it's just a cool little tool that you can use to, nurture relationships, build relationships, identify new business opportunities, but manage your reputation, increase the value of your clients, get more
Yeah.
referrals. It's handwritten notes just worth its weight in gold.
Yeah, I agree. And especially like, not every marketing activity is going to be able to demonstrate a very clear ROI path, right? Like, for like if you're running paid ads or something, like you can see the path that someone took to become a lead and all of that. But,
Yeah.
whether it's some sort of other referral activity, especially with what we do, it's hard for us to tell clients, or to show like, hey, we generated 5 referrals for you this month. Well, we can't do that because we can't see your CRM. We can't see the leads who came in and where they were sourced from. We can just show you, staying top of mind, building that authority can generate referrals, just like a greeting card keeps you top of mind, especially if you're sending them to your referral sources, and staying top of mind and
Hmm.
generating stuff that way. And so it's a really good point, and I appreciate you pointing that out. So tell us a little bit more about Simply Noted, and how people can learn more about what you guys do.
Yeah. So, well, first off, Simply Note is the largest handwritten notes provider in the world. We're the only company in the world that's truly built their own handwriting robot. We're solely dedicated to the service that we provide. We don't do anything else. There are a couple of competitors in the space, and they're usually like direct mail companies who try to do it on the side. Um, The company is just called Simply Noted, just simplynoted.com. We highly recommend anybody listening to us, we'll send you a free sample, but like it's just request it, go to the homepage in top right hand corner, you'll see request a sample. When you get it, like you're gonna laugh because you're like, there's no way this was written by a machine, but like we use machine learning as it writes. Like it writes. I will never send it. I mean, I hate to say this, but like I would rather my robot write a handwritten card. Number one, it looks better, like it's more legible. My handwriting is terrible. And it's just I just think it looks way nicer. I mean, and not because it looks nicer, like it's clean. It's just like it looks so much more authentic. It's just,
Mhm.
I don't know. I'm in love with the technology we've built. But yeah, or just connect me on LinkedIn. I do a pretty good job of getting back to people, within an hour or two. It's my only social media platform that I use.
Awesome. And so just so like we clarify here, because I know, and you talked about some of the other competitors. I've seen people send out cards where, it looks handwritten, but it's very clearly just printed,
Yeah,
right? Like someone, maybe they printed it on a piece of notebook paper, but it's
yeah,
ink, like it's printer ink. But you're saying
yeah.
you legitimately have a robot that is
Mm-hmm.
attached to a pen that writes
Mm-hmm.
it.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I think that's super
It's so
unique, and
cool.
and
Yeah.
yeah, definitely makes it feel more authentic, and to your point, easier to scale and easier to do. And so really great. And definitely go check it out, get a free sample and see what that looks like. One final question for you before we wrap up here, and as if you had one final piece of advice for our audience, what would it be?
One final piece of advice. I mean, is this more of like for business owners, or how does this
Whatever you
usually get
want it to
directed?
be. This is the happy feely good time part of the show. Just anything you
Um,
want to impart before we go our separate ways.
yeah, so I think, I used to be in the corporate world, now I'm in the business world. I think a lot of people get analysis paralysis over the decisions they need to make in their life. I'm a big mountaineer backpacker, and a lot of people look at the peak at the base of the mountain, they get intimidated and they never start. I think it's just really important for people to take one step a day, 2 steps a day, get 1% better. Um,
Mhm.
I'm a marketing and sales guy, and I've built a robotics software and industrial automation company with zero experience and no money. I've done this with no loans, no debt, no investors, but I've taken one step closer every single day. And 5 years later, we've built this really cool company. So you can
Yeah.
do it. Believe in yourself. Don't analysis paralysis yourself. Don't overthink it, and just take it one day at a time.
Yeah, I love the mountain analogy. I think that's really really good, and I know that a lot of people in our industry really do struggle with that. So I definitely appreciate that. And that is going to wrap it up here for Center Stage this week. If please leave us a rating and review wherever you are listening. It helps the show get out in front of more people. And yeah, thank you so much for listening, Rick. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me. Appreciate it.